This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Excuse me for the delay. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knicks lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers 121-108 in a fourth quarter collapse, ladies and gentlemen. The New York Knicks collapsed. You know, it looked good for a while. What they were doing looked good for a while. But when it came down to it, the Knicks just did not have that guy that could elevate his game. And I hate to put it that way because of who we were playing, but that's the bottom line. The Knicks did not have the guy that could elevate his game. The Cleveland Cavaliers did. They had 2 guys that could elevate their game. Donovan Mitchell, Kevin Love. It kind of came down to that. The Knicks really did collapse in that fourth quarter, ladies and gentlemen. They started the game. The game, there were some surprises when the game started for me. I was surprised that Evan Fournier was guarding Donovan Mitchell, and that was the assignment. That was a shocker. That was a shocker. To understand the logic behind that, the only thing I could point to is that maybe Tom Thibodeau wanted to save the legs of Jalen Brunson, save fouls on Jalen Brunson and R.J. Barrett. But of course, what happened? Donovan Mitchell gets off to a hot start in the first quarter, knocking down threes, raining threes all over the place in that first quarter. And he never looked back. He never looked back, ladies and gentlemen. He never looked back. 121-108. The New York Knicks lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers behind hot three-point shooting all over the board. And when we did the game preview, we talked about the three-point shooting from the Cleveland Cavaliers. They came into the game shooting 41% from the three-point line. And they did it again tonight. They did it again tonight, led by Donovan Mitchell. Kevin Love got in on the game. Dean Wade got in on the game. The Knicks didn't have a chance. They didn't have not a chance. They didn't have an answer. There's a lot to dissect with this basketball game, in my opinion. A lot of things to get to. A lot of things that I saw that concerned me a little bit about the defense, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks give up 121 points. Now, the Cavs have been scoring 117 points per game, but the way that the Knicks gave up these points is what concerns me. Obviously, they were hot from the three-point line, but when do you figure out how to defend that three-point line in the midst of a game? You got to figure out how to defend it. You can't just let the guys shoot all willy-nilly, which the Cleveland Cavaliers did. But the Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, they were able to respond in that first quarter. They tied the game at 30 in the first quarter. And then the Cavs went on another run, and they were up 35-30 to finish out that first quarter. In the second quarter, basically the same thing continues, ladies and gentlemen. The Cleveland Cavaliers knock down shot after shot, and the Knicks, they go down 9-10 points in the second quarter. They managed to battle back. The second unit, they struggled a bit tonight. Derrick Rose, when he got in the game, he just didn't look in rhythm. He was fumbling the basketball all over the place. Obi Toppin came in and played a little bit played good basketball in the first half, and definitely not in the second half. Nobody in that second unit really played well in the second half, besides iHeart. The Knicks go into halftime down just 3 points. Okay, which for me, I that was good because the Cleveland Cavaliers were knocking down shots all over the place, but the Knicks, they shot well in the first half as well. Sometimes it didn't feel like it, but they did. In the third quarter, though, the Knicks played the type of basketball that I felt they needed to play to have a chance to win this game. They were pushing the ball up the floor on every single possession. JB, he gets the ball up the court to the basket. Julius Randle gets the ball up the court to the basket. And sometimes he missed layups that I was frustrated with and I wanted him to make, needed him to. We all wanted him to make it, of course. But he was doing what he was supposed to do to put pressure on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Because they weren't playing. Coming into this game, they weren't playing 10, 11 guys. They were going 7, 8 deep. Tonight, they were forced to play a few more guys. More minutes than normal because of the style of game that the Knicks played. The first half of that third quarter, ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks played for a good 7-minute segment. The Knicks were playing perfect basketball to their style of play. They were playing their style of basketball perfectly. Let me say it that way. Then when the bench came in, I'm not trying to harp on the bench and be mad at the bench today, but I felt like the bench struggled. As soon as the bench came in, turnovers. I think the Knicks had a stretch in the third quarter when the bench came in of 3, 4 turnovers in a row. And of course, the Cleveland Cavaliers at this time had Donovan Mitchell in the game, had Dean Wade in the game, 2 starters, had Kevin Love in the game, a guy that you know can play basketball. Not a starter for the Cleveland Cavaliers this season, but he played like a starter tonight with the way he was knocking down threes. And by the time Thibodeau in that fourth quarter brought his guys, or brought Julius Randle and R.J. Barrett and Jalen Brunson back in, the game was tied at 99, and the momentum shifted to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then that starting unit just crumbled down the stretch. And I was looking very closely to see if Tom Thibodeau was going to keep Emmanuel Quickly in the game. I knew he wasn't going to keep Cam Reddish in the game. He was frustrated with Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish made some boneheaded plays tonight. You know, I mean, there were times when he played some good defense, but then there were times when on the offensive side, he was just discombobulated. He came back with Evan Fournier. I'm not sure that's the correct move because you already know, come down the stretch of the game, what Donovan Mitchell was going to try to do. And no, he did not score every basket on Evan Fournier. And Evan Fournier had played well for a good portion of the game. He's 16 points tonight, shot 66% from the field and 60% from the three-point line. And, you know, I suppose that's the reason why Tom Thibodeau brought Evan Fournier back, because he could score. And, I mean, you know, I don't know if anybody was going to stop Donovan Mitchell from doing the things that he did tonight. And, you know, Evan Fournier wasn't terrible on him all night long. But I was just a little bit surprised. I thought he would stay with more defense down the stretch because the Cleveland Cavaliers were knocking down shot after shot after shot after shot after shot. Kevin Love, man. A lot to get to. A lot to talk about with this game. The Knicks defense had a tough go at it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Tough go at it. Bobby Santiago, thank you for the super chat. He said, Tom Thibodeau doesn't make the adjustment against the three-pointer. No help defense. Actually, I think there was help defense. That's what led to some of those three-pointers being open. We'll talk about it, though. You know what I mean? we couldn't keep guys out the lane, which means Donovan Mitchell, Karis LeVert, those guys were able to kick to the corners, were able to kick to the wings. And they were open because we had to help in on those guards. And also, that pick and pop was killing us. Pick and pop was killing us. You know what I mean? It's like we weren't on the same page as far as who was going to switch, if we were going to switch with that pick and pop. Obi did it. Randall did it. And I don't know whose fault it was. Was Obi supposed to switch on to Donovan Mitchell or whoever the guard was, or Randall switch on to Donovan Mitchell or whoever the guard was, and then RJ or Fournier or whoever switch off to Kevin Love, or not? Didn't seem like the players understood their assignments there either. But Bobby said, I know that the players play and the coach is coach. Change is needed. Jalen and Julius need help. Too many threes. Definitely a lot of threes by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Not just a lot taken, but a lot made. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and break down the box score, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll get to some of these things here. The Knicks were led in scoring by Jalen Brunson, 16 points and 7 assists. Didn't start off very strong in the first half, but in that third quarter, he played very well. Ended up shooting 42.1% from the field, but the second game in a row that Jalen Brunson wasn't quite in rhythm. 16 points from Evan Fournier, 3 rebounds for Evan Fournier. Julius Randle, 15 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. Also 2 steals. He only shot 38.5% from the field, and he was 0 for 3 from the three-point line. RJ Barrett finally got some things going from the three-point line. He was 3 for 4 from the line, 15 points, 5 rebounds. But RJ had a hard time breaking down the defense. I'm not trying to harp on him, but he had a hard time getting into the lane. And when he did get into the lane, he would get bottled up. Maybe it was their length. They're a good defensive team. There's no doubts about it. But I felt like RJ had a tough time breaking down the defense. And caller, I'm going to get to you in just a minute. Please be patient. Let me see. Who else for the Knicks? Isaiah Hartenstein, 12 points and 9 rebounds. Mitchell Robinson did not. It was hard for him to stay on the floor. Mitchell Robinson, 4 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. No blocks for Mitchell Robinson. But Hartenstein was much better tonight than Mitchell Robinson was by miles, in my opinion. By miles. A lot of times Mitchell Robinson, I don't know. Hartenstein's presence was just bigger for me today. You know what I mean? The way that he's able to, he may be the 5th option out there, but you can feel confident that when you get to that 5th option, he can knock down the little floater in the lane. He can make a pass to a cutter. With Mitch, you're not getting that. And right now, you're not getting what you need from the rebounds with Mitchell Robinson, although he did have 6 offensive rebounds. Obviously, the Knicks, needed some of those rebounds, but they didn't always equate to second chance points. Obi Toppin, 9 points, 4 for 7 from the field. Most of his work was done in the first half. Didn't play well in the second half. I think 2 or 3 turnovers in a row for Obi Toppin. One of them was an offensive foul, but he struggled a little bit in that second half. Obi Toppin did. Emmanuel Quickly, he played okay. Nothing to write home about. Cam Reddish, 7 points. Made some real blunders, though, in the second half. The second half for the second unit was a rough one. Derrick Rose, 7 points, 2 assists. Derrick Rose, 50% from the field, also 50% from the three-point line. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, ladies and gentlemen, they were led by Donovan Mitchell. And we talked earlier in the game preview about the difference between Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell and how they impact their respective teams. But you know what? Listen, Donovan Mitchell just straight up outplayed. Jalen Brunson wasn't really guarding Donovan Mitchell, but he outplayed everybody on the Knicks. 38 points, 12 assists for Donovan Mitchell. Looked really, really good out there. Looked under control. He was 12 for 20 from the field, 8 for 13 from the three-point line. Dean Wade, he had 22 points. Kevin Love had 29 points and 8 rebounds. He was 8 for 13 from the three-point line, 9 for 14 from the field. The Cleveland Cavaliers shot 46% from the three-point line. They shot 50 threes. They shot more threes than they shot twos. They were 23 for 50 from the three-point line. The Knicks had no answer. They could not find a way to stop the Cleveland Cavaliers from taking threes or making threes. It was trouble. No doubt about it, man. Let me get to this phone call because we're going to break some things down here. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
What's up, Sam? Thanks for taking the call. It's Spree.
Spree, what's popping with you, brother?
Oh, man. I mean, you covered it very well. I mean, look, Donovan Mitchell has been killing everybody so far this year, so I don't want to overreact. Like, Donovan Mitchell is a special player. We all understand that. My issue with the Donovan thing was really the first half for me. I thought a lot of he had like 5 or 6 threes in like 5 minutes. Like, most of those were open threes, Sim. I thought we could have at least contested better, at least make it hard on an all-star player. Some of them we gave him. My issue is the Kevin Love thing. I don't understand why we don't run him off the line eventually. We're just going to let him shoot 13 threes, no problem. We had a couple 4-point plays that RJ fouled him, but we did not run him off the line enough. I had a problem with that. To me, Obi in the second unit, like you said, lost the game. We were up 9, Sim, to start the fourth quarter. Even with Donovan Mitchell doing what he did, we should have won the game. You're up 9 points to start the fourth quarter. Obi has a turnover where he throws a crazy pass to Cam. He travels, Sim. Mm-hmm. He travels. Mm-hmm. Then he gets blocked by Donovan Mitchell, unacceptable. And then he sets a screen, an offensive foul, moving screen. Like, that's 3 or 4 plays by Obi. I'm not trying to just single out Obi, but, like, that was a crucial spot in the game, Sam.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely a crucial spot in the game because, the Knicks had a chance to go up double digits and make it. They were up by 9. They had a chance to go up double digits and make it tougher for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they could never get over that hump. It remained a single-digit game, and, they started to chip. They started to chip. The next thing you know, it's an even game. You know what I mean? Or, they're within 4. And then big play after big play for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Knicks just crumble. They fall. It didn't look like there was leadership.
It's sad. It's sad because we're up 9 to start the fourth quarter. I mean, like, this is a game we blew. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, Donovan Mitchell is a special player, and he could have scored 40 tonight. We still won the game. I go to sleep happy. You're up 9. Your second unit has to do the job. That's their job. They have to keep the lead. They can't make it a 3 2-point game, 4-point game once the starters get back in. You have to sustain that 9-point lead. And also let me just say this on Mitchell Robinson, okay? Let's have an honest conversation here. Mitchell Robinson got the ball a lot today, I thought there were many times where people were finding Mitchell Robinson. I could count at least 5 to 7 times where he caught the ball, Sim. And he's not ready. Like, I'm sorry, Jared Allen's a nice player, but Jared Allen's 6'9". Mitchell Robinson is 7 feet tall. He does not look comfortable when he gets the ball. Like, he's fumbling and bumbling it. And could we make better passes to him? Sure, but I have a problem with where Mitch is at. He's got to make plays, Sim, when he catches the ball.
I know, man. I know he's got to make some plays. The thing is, people know Mitch, and coaches know Mitch, and they know what he can do. They know what he can't do. One thing I think they understand is that he's not used to getting the ball in positions to score, and so they're gonna bump him, right? They're gonna put him in a position where he has to utilize footwork in order to score, and if he can't and doesn't, he won't be effective. You know what I'm saying? He's part of it is he's got to work on it. Also, you got to get him involved more so he's used to it. I think. Not just one game, but multiple games. I think you got to get him involved more. So when he gets the ball, it's not foreign to him.
That's fair. I'll give you that. We don't do it enough, and it's not foreign to him. I'll give you that. But my whole thing was, like, in today's game, you could see out there, like, they gave him the ball. He was just so uncomfortable. And, like, he was in position, Sim, where he's strong enough now where, like you said, if he has the footwork and balance, these should be and ones, dunks. These should be fouls on the other team, not Mitchell Robinson picking up fouls left and right or fumbling it out of bounds, and we're in a bad position. A lot of these should be 2 points or at least fouls on the other team, where I feel like we got to look. It's early in the year. I'm not going to go crazy. This does show. I'll say this: they fought in the last game against a really good team. Who did we play last game? I forgot.
The Bucks. We played the Bucks.
Do you remember?
We played the Bucks.
We played the best team in the East. And we look, it didn't look great, but Giannis is Giannis, and we competed to the end. This game we should have won. We all know it as Knicks fans. We're up 9. So there's some positives here. Okay, the first unit looked good for the most part. Mitchell, the second unit bothered me, Sim. IQ did some crazy things. Cam will always do 1 or 2 crazy things. I like Cam, but he went a little nutty. And Toppin, against Donovan Mitchell and Kevin Love, when you play no D, this is what happened.
Yeah.
You can't make mistakes. And that crucial sequence where Toppin killed them, it was frustrating.
Let me ask you one thing before I let you go, Spree. Do you think in the fourth quarter, and I know Cam Reddish made some blunders, right? But I did think his length helped against Donovan Mitchell. Was it the end-all, be-all? No, it was not. I think Cam Reddish was guarding him when he, got hit came off the screen, spun off of whoever it was, Hartenstein, and then dunked it. You know what I mean? But he got hit with a screen, and you got to find a way to guard him inside that paint. You got to put some trees around him and not let him be able to rise up. Much easier said than done. But did you think in the fourth quarter maybe you could have let Cam Reddish stay out there to try to defend, use his length against Donovan Mitchell? What do you think?
Look, I'm with you. I'm always going to defend Cam Reddish because he can play defense and he's long. Even when he does a crazy jump shot or he does one loosey-goosey turnover or 2, I'll defend him because he does the right things, and he's one guy on the roster that we don't have. So your point is well taken. He could have stayed in the game. My issue more with the second unit, if I'm doing the blame game, and I'm a fan, I think Obi killed us. I think IQ did a couple crazy threes that he didn't need to do. Derek does not look great. We got to get Derek right. He doesn't look like Derrick Rose with his legs and with his mind. We got to get Derek back.
Well, at least
the
tonight
second unit wasn't ready.
At least tonight he didn't. Other nights I thought he looked okay.
Yeah, other nights he did. But tonight I felt like maybe he was out last night. But I love Derek. But it just – I don't blame Cam for the loss. But we do need Quentin Grimes back. I will say that. We need Quentin Grimes back. But I'll just say this. We have to – they shot 53, Sim. We got to do a better job of running people. I know that's the league now. We'll get more up with Quentin, but I can live with the Donovan Mitchell stuff in the second half because he made some spectacular plays. Some of them were too open in the first half. I can't live with Kevin Love just not running him off the line. I can't live with that.
Yeah, right.
That's just unacceptable.
That was due to some. Yeah, I don't know if it was miscommunication or if it was schematic, but. Hey, Spree, I appreciate your time, man.
Sam, hang in there, man.
No doubt.
You know this is a process. We're 3-3.
It's a process.
It's not the end of the world. But I'll just say this: we are going to. We're a better team. I think that it's painful right now, but these are 2 good teams we played, and I appreciate you, Sam.
All right.
I know you'll look at it the right way. I appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you.
Savvy D, what's going on, my man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling all right, man. It's good to be back on the show. You know what I mean? One of the rare occasions where I got the time and opportunity to make an appearance and join the show. You know, as always, with the chat and the panel. Not feeling good about the result of that game, though.
No, definitely not feeling good about the result. Not when you had a 9-point lead and you had a chance. You had a chance to win this basketball game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You had a chance to win this basketball game.
Someone said that we're not better than the Cavs, so why are you mad? Anytime we're playing a team, even if they are better than we are, roster construction wise. If we have a lead late in the game and we have a chance to win, I'm always upset about losing that game.
Yeah. I mean, no, maybe we're not better than the Cavs. We're not better than the Cavs, but you had a chance. And it's not,
Right.
if the game was a 3-4 point game with 2 minutes left, you're in a battle and you lose it, okay, you get it. But the Knicks collapsed in that fourth quarter.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about the way that you lost the game, not necessarily that you lost the game. It's about the way that you lost the basketball game. They collapsed. They had a 9-point lead. They collapsed.
Yep. And we didn't look good. We looked silly out there down the stretch, honestly.
Yeah, we did.
You know what I mean?
People falling all over the place, crazy things happening. It started to get embarrassing down the stretch.
2 and 3 spins. 2 and 3 spins for bad look at the basket, off balance shot, doesn't go in. They come back and get an easy one.
Yeah.
Then we do it all over again, bro.
Yeah. Sharon Wilson said, bro, there ain't no positive. I'm sure there's some things you can take from the game. You got to take small pieces of positivity from the game. He said we got beat by a team that we helped make good. I can understand the Bucks, but come on, the Cavs. I mean, I don't want to say come on the Cavs because the Cavs are a good basketball team. He said, I'm so pissed that we missed out on a superstar. And Savvy, here's the thing. Today was going to be, obviously, it was going to be glaring. If we won the game, it may not have been glaring. It would have been like, okay, we could do it without it. But we lost. And the fashion that we lost down the stretch made it glaring that we do not have a guy that can elevate his game.
And it was largely due to yeah. And it was largely due to the very person that we're referring to that we wanted on the roster.
Yeah.
And
I don't want to harp on it because it is, it's a sore spot for Knicks fans. Without a doubt, it's a sore spot. But it was painfully obvious that the Knicks need that guy with this current roster. If you have one guy that can elevate his game, you can play the style of basketball that the Knicks play, right? Good balance scoring from the Knicks. Several guys, a bunch of guys in double digits, so on and so forth. That's great. That's fine and well. But you need that guy. You need that guy that can elevate his game when it gets tight, because you see each and every game when it gets tight, the game does slow down. It becomes harder to move the basketball. We don't have that guy. We missed out on it. We don't have that guy, and hopefully it comes. I'm not sure if we have anyone that's going to elevate their game to be that guy. Jalen Brunson is a great addition to the team. I'm not sure we'll see as the season moves on if he's able to do it night in and night out. The last 2 games, he hasn't really been in rhythm. You know what I mean? And we'll see what happens when he gets back in rhythm. But it's been
and
go ahead,
we have the tendency when teams start to clamp down that we slow down and we don't move the ball as well, and we're not looking to pass as much. Guys are trying to force the issue. You know what I mean? And I just feel like we need to outgrow that. We need to take a step forward and be a team that is still going to find ways to get open, to move the ball, and force the defense to adjust to us, as opposed to us allowing the defense to dictate what we can do. I think that's one of the pivotal things on down the stretch that we need to be able to figure out how to do. And I think a part of that solution is largely going to have to come from Jalen Brunson as our starting point guard on this team.
Yeah. The New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, outscored the Cleveland Cavaliers 34-22 in the third quarter. And they were led in scoring at that time by Jalen Brunson. He had 12 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. In the fourth quarter, the Cleveland Cavaliers took control. They won the fourth quarter, ladies and gentlemen. They outscored the Knicks 37-15 by 22 points in that fourth quarter. And Donovan Mitchell had 12 points and 4 assists in that fourth quarter. Kevin Love had 16 points and 4 assists in that fourth quarter. And for the New York Knicks, 2 points for R.J. Barrett, 2 points for Julius Randle, 3 points for Evan Fournier, 2 points for Jalen Brunson, 2 points for Cam Reddish, and 4 points for Derrick Rose. 5 turnovers for the Knicks in the fourth quarter. I mean, the Cavaliers had 4 turnovers, but they were scoring the basketball. The Knicks were out-rebounded in the fourth quarter, 14-5, ladies and gentlemen. 14-5 in that fourth quarter. The Knicks won the rebounding battle overall, but they didn't win the rebounding battle in the fourth quarter. They got demolished on the boards in the fourth quarter. That was one of my keys coming into the game, that the Knicks had to win the rebounding battle. They needed offensive rebounds. If they weren't hitting shots, they needed offensive rebounds, and they needed defensive rebounds so that they can get out and run. In the third quarter, ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks were rebounding the ball. They were getting out and running. The Knicks had 14 rebounds in the third quarter. The Cleveland Cavaliers had 7 rebounds in the third quarter. And you can see the difference in those games, folks. Or the scores, not the game, but you can see the difference in the scores in those quarters. Tough one. I'm going to get to this phone call, then we'll come back and we'll get to a few more numbers behind the game, ladies and gentlemen. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please. Caller, you there? Hold on for 1 minute, caller. We'll see if we can get you back in. Just stay on the line for 1 second, and we'll get you back in there. As I'm getting the caller back in, ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knicks, they lost 121-108 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They actually won the rebounding battle. But in the fourth quarter, the Cleveland Cavaliers dominated the boards. And it hurt the Knicks. It definitely hurt the Knicks in that fourth quarter.
And that's where the numbers get deceptive because it's not just what you did, but when you did it.
Exactly.
That's how you develop more of an outsized impact. Speaking of impact, I want to give a shout out to Isaiah Hartenstein. You know what I mean? He was out there fighting for us and not being soft and not being taken lightly out there. I would like to see more of that going forward. I did feel like, however, we struggled to find a balance between him and Mitchell Robinson. And that's something that we're just gonna have to adjust into as we go on throughout the season. But really, what I came away from the game with is that I'm ready to tighten up these rotations, bro. Like, at least until Cam Reddish gets better, I'm ready to tighten up these rotations. So some of these dudes, like, I'm just not seeing it. It's unfortunate though, because for example, Cam Reddish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cam Reddish came in and did some good things and looked like he was going to have a good night, at least due to the first impression. But then you saw that he was kind of confused and lost and like overwhelmed at certain moments. And he's just such a mystery box, bro. Like, I never know what we're going to get from that dude at any given time. But at the same time, it's almost like the versatility he brings makes you at least want to give him a try. So how much longer do we give this guy a try? We got a lot more basketball left to play this season, so I don't want to be too hasty. But it's just so on and off with dude, and I feel the same way about a few guys on that bench. I mean, Obi Toppin up until now has been relatively like good, like looking like he need more minutes. And then tonight, he did some things here and there, but then just couldn't stop his guy.
Yeah, and it's gonna happen from time to time. I thought Obi, I think Obi has been playing decent up until this point. We'll see if he, we'll see how he rebounds. Let me get to the caller. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please. Caller, you there? All right, we'll get back to him. I think maybe he must have hung up. Let me finish reading off these numbers behind the game. 26 assists for the New York Knicks. You know, they really started off hot from the assist standpoint. They was up at 27, 28, 29 assists. They've, cooled down. I think the Knicks are probably going to average in about 26 or 27 assists per game. The Cleveland Cavaliers, 33 assists. 9 steals for the Knicks, 3 steals for the Cavs, 2 blocks for the Knicks, 5 for the Cavs. Both teams had 14 turnovers. Some critical turnovers in that third quarter for the Knicks, which, for the most part, allowed the Cleveland Cavaliers to get back into the game. The Knicks shot 48.9% from the field. That's decent. They shot 37% from 3. That's decent. They only shot 50% from the free throw line, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks, you're not going to win games like that.
Nope.
8 for 16 from the free throw line. I mean, the Knicks lost by 13 points. I mean, and you give up 8 points at the free throw line right there. And I'm not saying they're going to make 100% of their free throws, but of the 8 that they missed, if they make 6 of them, it's a tighter game come down the stretch. Maybe you have a bigger lead. I'd like to see him get to the line more than 16 or have more than 16 attempts as well. 84% from the free throw line for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Cavs, ladies and gentlemen, they had 19 attempts. 64 points in the paint for the Knicks, 32 for the Cleveland Cavaliers. 11 second chance points for the Knicks, 7 for the Cavs. 28 fast break points for the Knicks, 14 for the Cavaliers. It all comes down to that three-point shooting, though. That's what it comes down to. The three-point shooting, the Knicks, they couldn't stop the Cleveland Cavaliers from knocking down shots behind that arc, and they couldn't stop the Cleveland Cavaliers from getting open shots behind the arc. And two things. Penetration from the guards allowed wide open threes on the perimeter. So we're struggling, and we talked about it earlier. We're struggling to stop guards from penetrating against us, which is going to leave three-point shooters open. And then we seem confused on the pick and pop. I don't know how many times tonight there would be a late rotation on the guy popping to the three-point line. And it was very, very clear, and this wasn't the only example. It happened throughout the night. But one was very clear in the fourth quarter. R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle were guarding Kevin Love and Donovan Mitchell. R.J. Barrett on Donovan Mitchell, Julius Randle on Kevin Love. Kevin Love set the screen. When Donovan Mitchell comes off the screen, Julius Randle comes over and he picks up Donovan Mitchell. R.J. Barrett stays there. And as the ball gets kicked to Kevin Love, he rotates late to Kevin Love. Wide open three. Knocks it down. And on just about the very next play, it happened again. This time, RJ was a little bit more attentive, and Donovan Mitchell did not kick the ball to Kevin Love. Mm-hmm. Right? But this happened time and time again throughout the night, where the Knicks were just late on that pick and pop rotation. And I don't know if it was schematic or if it was the players who were late. Right? I mean, did they know that they were supposed to be switching? Were they supposed to switch? Who's supposed to be yelling out or calling out the switch in that situation? Who is Tom Thibodeau asking to call out the switch? Right? Because it happened with Wade. I mean, it happened a few times with Evan Mobley. He just didn't knock down the three.
Say that name again.
Evan Mobley.
The one before that.
Dean Wade.
Okay. Hey, so check this out, Sim. I got some numbers for you right here in this segment. Mm-hmm. That's gonna put into perspective just how bad we looked out there tonight. Okay, Dean Wade. It is his third year. Okay. He averages about 10.5 points per game. Tonight, he put up 22 on us and outscored our entire roster.
Yes. Yep, and he was 6 for 8 from the 3-point line.
I mean, come on. If it's Kevin Love, okay, that's Kevin Love still. Dean Wade outscored our entire team.
Yeah.
We can't have that, bro. We can't have that. And you know what? Shout out to him because he earned it. He really earned it. It just so happened that I feel like all of our players at the same time were having trouble with their matchups. This is the first game I've seen Jalen Brunson not look efficient, even though he had 7 assists and 3 steals.
Mm-hmm. Well, he wasn't efficient
And
against the Bucks either.
right,
They're
true that,
two tough teams with, both teams, the Bucks with the best defense in the NBA and the Cleveland Cavaliers, top 5 defense in the NBA.
And you can tell he's right in between that zone where he's like, all right, I was a backup before and now I'm a starter, but he still is figuring out his pecking order where he stands against other starting lineups. And I believe in Brunson. I think he's going to have a good season and do well and go on to be very good. But when it comes to some of these legit teams, that's like a legit threat and not a fluke, we're going to have some trouble with those teams because we're not all the way solid yet. And until you know who your go-to trusty guys are, we're not going to be able to squeeze out these tough ones. I don't believe. You know what I mean? Like on a positive note, okay, on a positive note, Julius Randle seems to be back in the rhythm, back in the flow of things with the team. He struggled a little bit here and there tonight, but I like the fact that he was able at times to see that we needed to score and was able to force the issue and get a bucket. Whatever is going on with RJ, I mean, any time now would be good to like flip that switch and like start to play like the RJ we saw at the end of last season. But if Tibbs trusts him and he puts him in there and he says he does this every year, then maybe we just need to be patient. Okay, but it's not fair for us to give him leeway. I'm talking about the guy with the RJ pom poms every single season, right? I'm holding him accountable too. I'm like, bro, come on, like, so
Yeah.
you gotta be able to help us in times like this. These are the times where we need a guy like that. And it would have been a much uglier game if Evan Fournier hadn't made shots early on. When we brought him back in the fourth quarter, it might have been too long with him sitting out. He might have come in too cold because he couldn't buy a shot after that.
Yeah,
He airballed his shot.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter, the Cleveland Cavaliers picked up their defense.
Yeah.
They turned it up a notch. This team, the Knicks, it's almost like they don't have another notch. You know what I mean? They have, they play. They don't have another notch to go up. So they're playing at the same notch the entire game. So they're competing with the Bucks and the Cavs for a little while. And the Memphis Grizzlies went in overtime. So, they were right there with them. But they don't have another notch, I don't think, yet. Or at least we don't know. I'll say that. I don't know if they have another notch yet. We'll see as time goes on if this team figures out how to pick it up another notch. But I'm not sure because we don't have – there'll be games when they can because someone will have it going, RJ or Julius or Jalen Brunson, they'll have it going and it'll look like they're able to take it up another notch. But can they repeat it? Can it be consistent?
Exactly.
I'm not sure. I just don't know if we have that guy that can step it up another notch in those moments. You know what I mean?
I think we have a really good plan A. If plan A don't work, we're in trouble. You feel me? I don't think we're able to adjust and switch and respond well to teams that are able to get their stuff together and then clamp down on defense. I think once we get figured out by teams, if individuals don't play like stars and like hit big shots, we're in big trouble.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because you want to be able to win by committee sometimes and lift yourself out of that
Right.
slump.
And we'll see as time goes on because they are still figuring some things out. We'll see if they learn how to win by committee. Without there being a guy that steps up to another level. It's tough because when you start to hit those spells where you can't get a bucket, and you've seen it down the stretch, they couldn't get a bucket. There was no one that you could just throw it to, say, all right, our team style ain't working. We need to throw it to you to get a bucket. It just wasn't there for the Knicks. You know what I mean? So that's going to be something they've got to find their way through and work their way through throughout the season. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me get to the caller here. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Hello?
Yes. What's going on with you, my man? How you feeling?
I'm good. Can you hear me? This is Brooklyn Butch. Hello?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. How you feeling, Brooklyn Butch?
I'm pretty good. A little disappointed in the outcome of the game, but hold on, let me turn this.
Yeah.
Make sure I'm a bag for you here. Yeah, man, that was a tough one, Sam. Tough one. Tough to watch, especially in that fourth quarter.
The fourth quarter. That's what it was. I mean, the Knicks hung in there and they battled throughout the game, and every game is going to have some peaks and valleys all the time, right? And today, the way the game is played today, if you go down 10 or 11 points, it's not, you can get back in the game quickly because of the way that the game is played. You know what I'm saying? And so you see the Knicks go down 10 in the second quarter. Then they go up, 9 points in that third quarter. But the total collapse in the fourth quarter. You know what I mean?
Total.
Yeah, total collapse.
If you give me a little what's name here, a little room, just to maybe I'm gonna try to explain my opinion of why I think they lost.
Okay.
This has been happening. Part of this it's in a few different parts, but part of this has been happening for a long time. It seems like to me when things become, particularly in the crunch time, that you have great players, and sometimes I'm not going to use the word great, but even good players who at that given point in time, they become more cerebral. Our team, particularly a few of them, like Randall, he does not become cerebral at a time. I'm not saying he had a bad game this game, but you can see in crunch time where things get tightened up, things get physical, he always makes the bonehead maneuver of the bonehead foul, or he misses that free throw at the time. He can shoot 80%, but I tell you in crunch time, he's probably 20%. He's horrible when it comes to that. That's one Muslim. My second point of this, was watching this game tonight. In particular, I noticed there are quite a few of them who take these possessions lightly. Cam definitely takes possessions lightly. Some of those shots that he threw up were just horrible. Yeah. RJ, same thing. Possessions down the end of the game. They tend to take them like laps, like if they were in the beginning of the game. And it's crunch time. We lose those possessions. We lose those points and turnovers. Obi didn't play that well. But it looked like between Derrick Rose, when he comes in, he's coming in as like a partial point guard and not fully playing point guard. It's like they're mixing him and quickly in. It's not working. It's definitely not working at all. I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm like, if you really watch this game again, watch those critical plays and those possessions. They took those possessions off, basically. Cam threw up some things that were just terrible. And like you say, also, the lackluster defense. When a player is that hot, you have definitely got to lean into him. And you can't leave him. And they left Love consistently. It was really bad. So that was just my opinion of it. You know what I mean? I'll let you guys go with your shoulder.
The second half of that third quarter and the fourth quarter was pretty bad for the Knicks. You know what I mean? They're 3-3 on the season. They got a tough game against the Atlanta Hawks coming up on Wednesday. They got a few days off, though, right? Before the game. They got Monday and Tuesday to work on some things. They'll be back home at the Garden. They're 0-3 on the road. They're 3-0 at home. A total switch from last season. The Knicks got a rebound. I'm pretty sure they're not trying to fall below 500. You know?
Give me your opinion on this, though, Sim.
On who?
Between Tom Thibodeau, right, and him calling those timeouts all the time, when does the team and the leaders begin to figure it out? Like, you know what I mean? I get that he calls a timeout, and sometimes the timeouts are definitely, they're needed. But when there's some of those players actually begin to step up, particularly during crunch time, and gather these guys together and settle them down and point them out and like, hey, this is, you know what I mean? You can't do that. You can't throw up a shot like that. You've got to turn them out and pass that ball to somebody. Because what Cam did, what a few times that, you know what I mean? OBs were what's named mistakes. But between RJ, bad shots. Just outright bad shots. Outright not passing the ball off to, you know what I mean, when he should have. Those were some of the key mistakes, I thought, down the end, where it just really broke us apart. You can't take off 3 possessions against a defensive team like that and with offensive juggernauts like that. You just can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about leaders stepping up, I think you have to call timeouts. I know Phil Jackson used to, when he was coaching with the Bulls, he would, let them go for long stretches during runs without calling timeouts. But you also had Michael Jordan out there on the floor. You know what I'm saying? And so, at some point he was going to get you a bucket, and make something happen. We don't have that kind of player on this team. So I think you have to call timeouts. You've seen, the Milwaukee Bucks went on an 18-0 run, and Tom Thibodeau, I think, has tried his hand a few times at, well, let me see if they can get themselves together, but I think you got to, call a timeout. And because leaders, even in timeout, a leader can still, those floor generals or leaders can still be a leader in the timeout and be able to corral the troops. And, this particular group, this particular team here, although there's a lot of guys who've been on the team for a while, they're still coming together as a team, 6 games into the season, so there's a lot of changing and growing that this team is going to do, and hopefully you do get to a point where Jalen Brunson can just, I got it. I can handle it. You don't need to call a timeout. Save the timeout for later on in the game. You know what I mean? I got this run here in the second quarter. We're going to get it under control. We'll see if that happens. We got to, I guess we got to give the team a little bit of a chance to grow.
I'm going to say a prayer for him, Jim.
I got you. I hear you, man. I hear you, man. Yeah. Hey,
all right, I'm going to let you go and let you get on with your show.
I appreciate you, man.
All right, thank you, brother.
I
appreciate you, too. Have a good night.
I wonder, I think I heard Alan Hahn and them talking the other night, and they said, they were looking at some other teams in the league and talking about how many guys were playing and things like that. And they were like, the Milwaukee Bucks, they only went 7 deep or 8 deep or something. I wonder if Tom Thibodeau gets to the point where he feels like he needs to shave the lineup down, or is he cool with, because for the most part, I mean, when you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, there were very few times when there was not a starter on the floor. Tom Thibodeau's going 10 deep.
Yeah.
And, we normally go a stretch of about 5 minutes where there's not a starter on the floor, where it's quickly in Rose. I guess he feels that Rose is still that guy who can be like a starter out there to keep things under control, and make sure that second unit is rolling. So I think he puts a lot of trust in the Rose in that aspect, right? But we frequently go 5-6 minutes where it's Rose, Quickly, Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin, and Ihart out there on the floor. Do you think Savvy, I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to stick with this 10-man rotation and try to let it marinate and grow. And then when Quentin Grimes comes back, he's going to throw Quentin Grimes in there for somebody and see how that goes. But do you think he gets to a point where he shaves down the rotation?
My God, I hope so. My God, I hope so. I just told you I'm ready to tighten up this rotation now, and we're like 6 or 7 games into the season. It's just a lot, and you know what? Maybe he's more measured than I am. Maybe he's more patient than I am, and he sees things that I don't see. He's forgotten more basketball than I know, so I could see why he would wait and go 10 deep for longer, because in the past that has worked for us. We've always been very celebratory about the effectiveness of our bench and the chemistry that comes along with it. But I think there is something to the fact that there was always a starter on the floor at all times. And maybe, at the risk of sounding like a cheerleader, maybe RJ needs to be that guy because he does look so good with the bench unit. But if I'm going to contradict myself right now, I'm ready to tighten up the lineup. I'm also ready to see us go 10 deep, but just swap some guys out. Maybe we bring in Jericho Sims to see what he can do, because Jericho, might be the best perimeter defender we have at the 5. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I saw. Maybe we missed some of that. But maybe when Mitch gets into foul trouble, we go Ihart and Sims for a little while, and then bring Mitch back in when we need some bounds and some blocks and a body to get physical down below the rim. But I'm looking for people to eliminate from this rotation, bro. You know what I'm saying? I think it's that time. This is what, the 4th year under Tibbs. Nah, it's like the 3rd year.
This is the 3rd season. This is Tibbs' 3rd season. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. It's still October. The season started this month. By the end of November, by mid to end of November, I want to see some decisive decision making with, okay, night in, night out, these are going to be our 7, 8, 9 guys. And then we bring in dudes as we need them, situational.
Yeah. We'll see. Well, listen. Let's hear from Tibbs and what he thinks about tonight's game. All right? This is Tom Thibodeau, ladies and gentlemen, on tonight's game.
Made threes by Love, and then that 4-point play, and things started going in the other direction. Defensively in that stretch, what weren't you getting that you were getting in that 3rd quarter?
Yeah, Mitchell and Love, was a problem. And, obviously Mitchell's going to command a lot of attention, and he did. And then, we didn't close as hard as we needed to, Tim, but I want to look at the film.
What do you make of a game like tonight where in the 3rd quarter you outscore this team 34-22, but then it completely shifts in the 4th? You get outscored 37-15.
Yeah, you got to play for 48 minutes, no lead, safe. So I thought we played really well for 3 quarters. And obviously we have to do better in the 4th. We have to understand the difference of the first 3 quarters in the 4th quarter. And but I thought we did a lot of good things early on, and we just have to carry it out throughout the game.
Mitch got into foul trouble tonight. You got a lot of minutes out of Hartenstein. What can you say about the effort that he's giving you?
Yeah, he's been terrific. We knew he would be. Gives you rim protection. He can shoot. He can pass. So he's. I thought our bench played really well, particularly in the first half. Sort of got us going, and then obviously we didn't play well down the stretch.
Tom, just overall, your 3-point defense gave up 22 tonight. What do you think is missing right now?
You just got to close. It's the ball, the paint, react out. We're seeing, a lot of teams doing that. I think, Mitchell, 13 threes. The ones off the dribble, those are tougher, but he shoots them well. And then Love, that's been his strength for a long time. Wade, they got 50 up. So, and that's the challenge. You got to do more than one thing. You got to compete. You got to be into the ball, right? You got to be up to touch on the screen. You got to drop with the roller. I like the way we competed the first 3 quarters. I thought we did a lot of good things, but we have to understand the intensity of the fourth quarter, and we have to do better, and we will.
Is Donovan particularly tough because of his ability to explode to the rim, and if you play back at all, he's
both?
13.
Yeah, it's his ability to. He's got great quickness. He's shifty with the ball. He takes the right shots. He's at the rim or shooting the three. And then he puts. If you trap him, he's unselfish. He can make the right play. He could hurt you with the pass. He just plays the game the right way.
Tom, did you feel like your intensity, like you mentioned, we have to understand the fourth quarter is different from the first 3. Do you feel like you guys didn't match their intensity in that?
No, I wouldn't say that, but just to understand, it's different. We're not, everything you do is going to be, the intensity in general is heightened by both teams. So you have to own your space. You have to catch everything. It's got to be tight and sound. And, and I think that's probably the biggest thing. It's like, okay, we can't get back on our heels. If they get it, we got to own our space. We got to attack the rim. We got to get them back on their heels. Those are, that's the way the fourth quarter is. We're on the road. We're not going to get calls. We can't expect, to be bailed out if there's going to be a lot of contact. That's the reality of the fourth quarter.
The first few, I think it was the first 5 or 6 possessions, 3 turnovers, and I think 5 of the first 6 were empty possessions. How big of a turn do you think that first few minutes were of that quarter?
Well, it gave them life. We had a 9-point lead. So, and again, I want to look at the film to, see exactly what did happen.
Have you always said you can win or learn 2 games here on the road against real good teams? Is this kind of an early lesson for the guys?
Yeah, I know, and it's good. It reveals exactly where we are and what we have to do. And so, the thing is I thought we played well in the Milwaukee game. Played very well in the first half. After I watched the film, I thought we did a great job there. And they're playing great basketball, and this team's playing great basketball. So it shows us what we're capable of, but we just have to do it with more consistency and for longer. And so I think if we do that, we'll be fine.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Tom Thibodeau. And look, I see people in the chat. People are mad at Tom Thibodeau. People are always mad at Tom Thibodeau. I get it. I understand. I want to say to Blue Hefner, though. He said, let me get it up on the screen. He said, Sim never holds Tom Thibodeau accountable. First of all, I can't hold Tom Thibodeau accountable. I'm not his boss. So there's nothing I can do to hold Tom Thibodeau accountable. Sorry to tell you. All right, the only thing I can do is talk about what he has done or has not done. Very last game, I was criticizing Tom Thibodeau about his rotation in the fourth quarter. I thought he should have left Obi Toppin and Derrick Rose in the game. I questioned tonight whether or not he should have put Evan Fournier back in the game to defend Donovan Mitchell. I questioned the scheme in the pick and pop. Was it scheme or was it players? Listen, I'll be honest with you though, Blue. I don't think that Tom Thibodeau is a bad coach. Coaches are going to make mistakes, including Tom Thibodeau and every other coach in the NBA. I don't think he's a bad coach. Right? That's it. If I think he does something wrong, I'm going to say I think he did something wrong. I just challenge you to go back and look at our record before Tom Thibodeau. What were we doing before Tom Thibodeau? Tom Thibodeau helped to elevate this basketball team to relevance, like it or not. You dig what I'm saying? Like it or not. Is he perfect? No. Will he lead this team to a championship? We don't know. But he's much better than any coach we've had in the last 10 years. We'll see where he goes with this particular team. That's all I got to say about that. Savvy, for the most part, Tom Thibodeau said things that, we hear all the time from Tom Thibodeau. You don't really expect to hear anything new from Tom Thibodeau. Anything that you heard, and I don't know if you got a chance to hear it. I thought you heard say something. I thought I heard you say something about maybe you can't hear it. I don't know if you got a chance to go on YouTube and listen to it while we were listening to it. But go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, well, first of all, I want to say I think people, the reason why they think Tibbs is a bad coach or they hate on Tibbs is because it appears that his flaws are permanent, right? And that he doesn't adjust or fix the things that he does poorly, whether it be minute distribution or what have you, right? Pudge Nietzsche called him Tibbs Dale. I don't think he's that bad.
He's definitely not that bad. Come on.
He's not that dang bad now. All right.
Come on, man.
Okay. And that was funny. But from the parts I did hear, it makes me miss the sassy Thibodeau that we had at the end of last season, who was really talking back and getting attitude with some of these reporters. Because I'm like, bruh, like I was waiting for him to say, "Well, the game will tell you what to do," and he didn't say that. One thing that I wish I would see from him more is like, stop letting the other team come all the way back before you swap somebody out, before you call a timeout, before you make another substitution. Other than that, man, like I'm at the point where I'm on YouTube watching the media availability for everybody except for Tom Thibodeau sometimes, because I'm just like, all right, man.
The biggest issue I have with Tom Thibodeau is that he doesn't break his substitution pattern when it's necessary. He has his pattern, right?
Yes.
I'm going to bring guys, I'm going to play my starters until this time. Then I'm going to bring my bench players in from this time to this time. Like, he has his pattern and he doesn't break from it. And there are times, for nothing. And there are times when unless someone's in foul trouble or something like that, right? He doesn't break from it. And that, I think, is a mistake. That's a mistake.
Yeah.
Scheme-wise, it's so hard to say exactly what the scheme is because they're not going to put it out in the media. They're going to work on it in practice, so on and so forth, but it's always hard to say what the scheme is, right? Just talking about the pick and pop. Was Julius Randle or Obi Toppin, were they supposed to pick up the guard and then the other person switch on to the shooter or not? We don't know. You know what I mean? All we know is that the shooter continuously was open on that pick and pop. Kevin Love,
and check this out.
Dean Wade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Was it scheme or was it player?
Right. And if it was the scheme, I don't think we had the right player in there for that scheme. Because even at his age, Obi Toppin strikes me as somebody who is not ready for that level of defensive scheming. He, like when Obi Toppin does manage to stop somebody, it's always man up.
Right. The issue is whoever you put out there on the floor, you have to, if you got Donovan Mitchell coming off a screen, right? Once the screener bumps, say, R.J. Barrett, who's defending Donovan Mitchell, R.J. Barrett's not catching back up to Donovan Mitchell. So you almost are forced to switch. You know what I'm saying? And the person who received the screen or got screened, they've got to know, okay, I got bumped. I need to automatically roll out to this shooter. Now, does it mean that you're leaving Obi or Julius Randle on an island with Donovan Mitchell? Yes, it does. But there's almost not much that you can do. Because if you now those guys just got to get down low and defend. And you still have some backside help. But if you allow him the ability to kick it over to that shooter every time, you know what? In the beginning of the game, if you're testing it out and they're not hitting, all right, you know what? Maybe we'll let them go ahead and kick it out there. But when a guy has hit 3-4 threes in a row, you're like, nah, we can't let this dude be open. We got to get out to him. You know what I'm saying? So is it scheme? Yeah. Is it player? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? And it could be a wrong scheme. It could be the wrong scheme altogether. I mean, I didn't agree with having Evan Fournier on Donovan Mitchell to start the game. Now maybe Tom Thibodeau figured he was going to allow Jalen Brunson, not put Brunson on him so that he didn't pick up fouls, not put RJ on him so that he didn't pick up fouls. And maybe he felt like Evan Fournier, whoever's being guarded by Evan Fournier is going to get off anyway, so we might as well just let it be all Donovan Mitchell who gets off and try to shut down these other guys. Maybe that...
Don't let Andy hear you.
Right, exactly. Maybe that was his thought process.
I mean, it's not a bad sacrifice to make. We've seen that work against teams where there's that one guy who you're not going to stop. Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, guys like that. You feel me? I don't think we're good enough everywhere else to really allow that to happen.
Right. Because we don't have shut down defenders.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If we had shut down defenders at every other position, maybe you say, okay, we put our weakest defender on the guy is going to get buckets anyway, no matter who's on him, and then we can shut down everybody else. We don't have we don't have those guys out there.
Do you think that, because I saw someone say in the chat that Cam can get bumped and recover, you know what I'm saying, and kind of implying that we should start Cam instead of Evan Fournier. I don't think that's going to happen.
That Cam can get bumped and recover?
On the screen. So if he's receiving the screen, then he can fight over the screen, or he can get bumped and then recover.
He didn't recover when Donovan Mitchell banged it down the lane over Hartenstein. He didn't recover then.
I don't think that his defense is so good that we can mitigate his dry spells on offense, because our offense is not good enough to do so.
Right.
You feel me? And I think that the real predicament we have is that we have no Quentin Grimes. Right. I think that's a really impactful absence. I think the balance that he brings offensively and defensively could at least bridge the gap between, if somebody has to be out for foul trouble, or if somebody has to get some rest. You know what I'm saying? Then he can come in, he can give you some defense, he can give you some offense.
Right.
Okay. And sometimes he'll get real hot and be able to catch and shoot, score very well, efficiently, and then get back on defense and use most of his energy on defense.
Yeah.
Because he can catch and shoot and play in the rhythm like that. I think that, if he had been healthy to start the season off, we might have seen some adjustments in the rotation already, because maybe he gets more minutes than what Cam is getting, than what IQ has been getting.
Yeah. Knicks 100, the GM, said he got picked, talking about Cam, in that play where Donovan Mitchell dunked on Hartenstein. Yeah, he got picked. But the person who made a comment said Cam can get bumped and get around the screen. That's the point. He got picked, yes, but he didn't get around the screen. And I'm not blaming Cam on that play, right? Because Hartenstein, I thought, had bad positioning. Donovan Mitchell came off the screen and went to the right. I believe it was Ihart that was there. kind of committed to that right, and then Donovan Mitchell spun back. And then once he spun back, it was kind of over with. You know what I mean? Let me see. Somebody else I wanted to respond to.
And I don't blame him either, because I mean that can happen to the best of them, right? Like that's why the pick and roll is so effective.
Yeah,
it's one
Nick
of those
Yak.
staples.
The guys about I'm already kind of upset about the loss. Guys about to get on my nerves, Savvy. He said Mitchell made his point, but we already had Brunson. And Mitchell went off. Stop panicking. We still made the right decision. Don't listen to these podcasters. You don't have to listen to me. I don't care. Cool. Don't listen to me. I'm just saying, if we had a guy that can elevate his game, maybe a few of these games that we lost would have been different. That's all I'm saying. If you think we made the right move, good. I'm glad. I think we need a guy that can elevate his basketball game in order for this team to go to another level. That's what I think. And it showed tonight. If you don't think it showed tonight, that's cool for you. But I think it showed tonight. We didn't have a guy that could elevate his game. Coming down the stretch, we didn't know where we was going with the basketball or what we was doing. We were throwing up garbage, hot garbage at the rim. And they had two guys that was getting whatever they want as easy as they wanted to get it. So you can go ahead and believe that we got guys that's going to elevate their game if you want to. I don't. I was talking to a dude last night in the Chinese shop, and I said, I like RJ. I just don't think RJ has the talent to become what a lot of people think he will be. I ain't going to back off of it. If he does, cool. I ain't going to back off of it, though.
I think he's the kind of guy who can get better incrementally, have a season where he plateaus, and then come back another season or two down the line, and then take another step forward, and then kind of plateau a little bit, and then kind of take another step forward. You know what I mean? Like he'll gradually get better and better and better. He's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna have a breakout type of season where he's gonna all of a sudden he's a star and he ain't turning back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks lose 128-108 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And we'll see if the Knicks are going to be able to respond against the Atlanta Hawks. They play the Hawks on Wednesday. They'll have a couple of days to get some things together. They got to shore up the defense, man. They gotta shore up the defense. They gotta stop guys from getting into the lane. They gotta figure out how to get out on these 3-point shooters, or teams are gonna shoot it from three. You gotta defend it better than the way the Knicks did tonight, because there were a lot of open shooters. There were a couple of guys that were contested, but there were a lot of open shooters. You know
I mean, just the other night we was getting lit up by Grayson Allen.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, you guys on the line somewhere, bro. Okay? You can't be getting right up by Grayson. If you're in the chat right now and you're talking about, and you're singing the blues about how Evan Fournier is still starting and he needs to have less of a role and not start, you're preaching to the choir. But what is our better option right now? Everybody got issues and complaints. What's the solutions? All right? Because the only guy that I feel like could probably approximate the offense while giving us what we need from him on defense is wearing a walking boot.
You know what I mean? Because I don't, some people might say Cam is the solution. I don't think Cam is the solution for that, for that perimeter defense. I think he helps. But I don't know if Cam is going to be a starter on this basketball team. I think he can be a rotation guy, but I just see a lot of things that he does, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah, he forgot how to play.
On the offensive side, sometimes I'm like, Cam, what are you doing? He makes some boneheaded plays. He's a young dude. He's a young dude. He's got a ways to go. He's got a lot of talent and a ways to go in his league. but sometimes it's head scratching sometimes with some of the things that he does. You know what I mean? He does things that a young guy does. And that's not going to be the way. People say, well, he just doesn't get enough minutes. He's not comfortable. You don't just get minutes thrown at you. You prove yourself, then you get more minutes.
Yes, exactly. And
you prove yourself, then you get more minutes.
It reminds me of how, and I'm gonna just jump over to Jump Sports right quick. It reminds me of how last football season, it looked like Daniel Jones was starting to sharpen up his game and make less mistakes and get better. And then when he went into the bye week and he came out the bye week and looked like he had forgotten the past 2 years of football he played.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about Cam Reddish.
Yeah.
Like he'll come out there and show his versatility. He'll show his length. He'll show his ability to be a natural offensive player. And then he showed the ability to get better on defense and focus on defense. Then he'll come out there and he'll do some stuff that's like, yo, what?
Yeah.
Puzzling stuff, man.
Yeah. Blue Hefner said Evan Fournier is not the best option. He's the only option. Well, if he's the only option, then that makes him our best option. At the moment, you know what I mean? If he's the only one, then that makes him the best one. He's not the only option. You have other players that you can say, let's put in this position. But for what the team needs, scoring-wise, he provides it better than anybody else that's currently available to play.
Do you think we would do better? We'd be better off with IQ starting at the 2?
No, I don't.
Me neither.
I don't.
Defensively, defensively, perhaps here and there sometimes, right? But offensively, I don't think so, right?
Yeah,
and that's even with the fact that Fournier lately has been on and off. Like, still, I think he's better because of the veteran presence that he brings. He's not going to make the mistakes that IQ makes.
Yeah, and IQ right now, he's not in rhythm. He played 19 minutes tonight. IQ did. He had 7 points. Not really in rhythm. I think he had a good game the previous game against the Milwaukee Bucks. He played well. He's still finding that rhythm. You know what I mean? And how to play off the ball a little bit, play a little bit faster, make quicker decisions, and those type of things. And that's not to say Evan Fournier is perfect at playing that style of game either. I think he's a little bit more suited. He's been in the league for a little while, so he has more experience on how to do it. You know what I mean? Right. Now, do we need someone to help show up that perimeter defense? Yes. And it's making Quentin Grimes' absence, it's making it clear that you need Quentin Grimes out there on the floor. There's been questions about, if Cam plays well, will Quentin Grimes, have to wait his turn, et cetera, et cetera. No.
Nope.
And
nope.
I've even without tonight's game, I've always been like, there's only 2 people on the team that can do what Quentin Grimes does. That's Quentin Grimes and Evan Fournier, right? They're the only guys that really come off screens, can be lethal from that, like really lethal from that 3-point line. The only guys that on the team that can do it the way that they do it, that catch and shoot type of guy. Quentin Grimes plays defense too. So, no, he's not going to be battling for minutes. He's going to get minutes when he's back.
Exactly, as he should.
Back. As he should, right? He still has a lot to prove. I still believe that.
Sure.
Still believe he has a lot to prove. But because of his skill set, the Knicks need his skill set out there. He's going to play.
Exactly. If you fill the void, you get chances.
Yeah. And the fact that the Knicks are struggling with their perimeter defense is all the more reason why when he comes back, he's going to be in the lineup. You know what I mean? Because, he feels, like you said, he fills a void. That perimeter defense is struggling right now. I mean, Rebuild NYK, New York Knicks said Grimes is no Drew Holiday. He can help, but let's be realistic. He's not Drew Holiday, right? I get you. He's not Drew Holiday, and I'm not saying he is Drew Holiday on that defensive side. I think he still has a lot to prove defensively. You know what I mean? He's got to be able to prove that when people start to scheme against him, that he can still play defense, but he's one of our better defenders on the basketball team. And right now, on the perimeter, we're struggling with that perimeter defense.
And it's like his second year, isn't it? I mean.
Yeah, Blue Hefner said, please stop making it like Grimes is Kawhi Leonard coming back from injury. I'm not. But if you're struggling with perimeter defense, as you've seen tonight, and you have a guy in a walking boot whose specialty is playing perimeter defense, are you not anticipating his return to the team?
I don't understand some of y'all sometimes. And on top of that, while we're at it, I don't want to hear nothing about Kawhi Leonard, okay? I want to hear nothing about Kawhi Leonard. Where he been at? Golly.
Listen, I'm a person. I am a person who has been saying that Quentin Grimes still has a lot to prove. He averaged 6 points per game last year. He's proved that he could play some perimeter defense, but teams are going to scheme against him. We'll see how he adjusts to those schemes, so on and so forth. But I still know that he's one of our better perimeter players, and right now we are lacking that perimeter defense sorely. Go back and watch the game. Tom Thibodeau always tells you to watch the game again. He watches it more than one time. Go watch it again, and you'll see how bad that perimeter defense looked tonight. I know we're playing a guy in Donovan Mitchell that is tough to guard. I get it. But the past few games, our perimeter, more and more holes are being found in that perimeter defense. And as we get more and more footage and things on tape and coaches are scheming against us, they're going to figure out how do we pick apart this defense. You know what I'm saying? That's what
I want to say something on a lighter note. You know what I'm saying? Okay, because Tibbs always tells you the game will tell you what to do. And shout out to Kareem. I don't know if you're watching right now, but the game told Kareem to shut the TV off.
Yeah, right.
That boy was done. I was like, I didn't even know.
Listen, I felt it in the fourth quarter, man. There was a certain point where I knew I could see the way the Knicks were going, the way the game was trending, and I was like, I don't feel like I just didn't see that they were going to be able to get it, bring it back in under control.
I was hurt.
So, but hey, we got to get past it. They got another game next week. They got a couple of days to prepare for it. I don't want to go below 500. The Knicks need to get this win. They got to beat Atlanta.
Oh, and Atlanta been cooking too.
Yeah, they need to beat the Atlanta Hawks.
Speaking of the Hawks,
mm-hmm.
Hypothetical scenario.
Yeah.
If we instead of getting Brunson, let's say free agency is the same way for both, right? Even though we would have had to trade for DeJounte Murray. If we had DeJounte Murray tonight instead of Brunson, do you think outcome-wise?
I don't think so. I think Brunson is right for this team.
I think so.
I think he is. I think he's right for this team. His, the mindset, the mentality, the toughness. I think he's right for this basketball team. They got a duo over there. He's just not that superstar guy, but I think he's the right person for this basketball team. The Knicks just need more.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we'll see if they can put together this type of game that they would like to put together, whereas, everything is team-oriented. The ball is moving. You never know who's going to be able to get you a bucket, even in crunch time. You know what I mean? And that's the key. Can they get it done that way in crunch time? We'll see as the season develops. But the Atlanta Hawks right now, they're in the 4th seed. The Knicks are in the 5th seed. I don't want to say seed yet, but they're 4th in the Eastern Conference. The Knicks are 5th in the Eastern Conference. The Hawks are 4-2 on the season right now. And of course we're gonna go deeper into it. I don't know, probably Tuesday night, because next week I'm gonna be traveling. I'm gonna be 2 hours away from my house at a conference. Then I gotta drive 2 hours back every night for basketball practice, then drive 2 hours back to the conference after practice. So it's going to be crazy as far as me doing shows, but my shows will be in the evening, 11:30, something like that, 11:30, 12 o'clock. I'll do some shows. I'll probably do a game preview Tuesday night so that you'll have it Tuesday night going into Wednesday. And then after the game on Wednesday night, I'll do a late post-game show. It'll probably be like midnight because, like I said, I'll finish with practice at 9 p.m. and I got to drive 2 hours back to the conference. And then I'll do a post-game show when I get back. So just bear with me next week. It's going to be a little bit crazy. But anyway, the Atlanta Hawks, ladies and gentlemen, they're 4-2 on this season. They just lost. They lost to the Milwaukee Bucks last night, 123-115. They play the Toronto Raptors tomorrow at 7:30. I'll watch that game so I can kind of scout them out a little bit. And then we play them at home on November the 2nd at 7:30. That's Wednesday. All right, the Atlanta Hawks right now. Let's see what their numbers look like and what they're doing out here.
They've been scoring.
Scored 136 points against the Detroit Pistons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we knew that they were going to be tough anyway. You know what I mean? 4-2 on the season.
It's about to get toxic. Prepare yourself.
Yeah, the Atlanta Hawks, right now they're 11th in scoring, 117.2 points per game, 20th in rebounds at 43.7, 13th in assists at 25.2. Opponents' points per game, they're giving up 113.2 points per game. That's just a quick little profile of the Atlanta Hawks, ladies and gentlemen. So there we go. But anyway, I'm going to get up out of here. All right, let you, start getting ready for tomorrow and all that good stuff. Make sure you check out the Queen's Court tomorrow morning. She'll be doing her post-game show tomorrow morning about 8 o'clock.
A very good show.
Mm-hmm.
A very good show.
So make sure you check that out. I'll probably be back on. I know I'm not going to be on tomorrow because I'll be doing a lot of traveling and stuff tomorrow. But, maybe Tuesday, like I said, Tuesday night, I'll be on Tuesday night. If I get a chance late tomorrow, maybe I probably won't. I'll probably be tired. Got a lot that I got to do to prepare for this conference. So probably Tuesday night, I'll do a game preview about 11:30 or something like that. 11:30, 12 o'clock, I'll do a game preview. And then I'll do a post-game show on Wednesday. Yeah. So, Savvy, I appreciate you for jumping in. Everybody that joined, I appreciate you all. Those who called in, I appreciate you. I should be able to have cell phone service on the not cell phone service. I better have cell phone service, but I should be able to have phone service on the road too. We'll see. I'll let you know. But anyway, we're out of here, ladies and gentlemen.
Safe travels, Sim.
Appreciate you, Sam.
To the chat. Knicks all day. Thank you for having me.
No doubt. We out. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.